This is On the Sidelines with Box 13.
All right, we're back here on the Sidelines podcast. I'm your host, Ethan McReynolds, here as always with my partner in crime, D-Jack Dante Jackson, and our special guest for today, none other than Super Bowl winner with your Seattle Seahawks, Bryan Walters. The ring isn't here. I'm a little disappointed, Bryan, but thank you so much for joining us nonetheless.
Thank you for having me, first off. You know, it's an honor. You guys finally asked me on your podcast. Jeez.
We got you in person
took all
this
season.
time.
Took to the NFC Championship.
Well, we had you mid-season. We were talking golf a little bit. We got you in person now for the big game. The NFC Championship is coming up, and it comes after just an absolute domination on Saturday. Bryan, you were there in the flesh. I mean, 41-6. Did you get shades of that Super Bowl win over the Broncos at all?
Yes, there was a lot of shades of that, but luckily for them, it was at home, so it was even more exciting, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's a little different. Super Bowl's kind of, I hate to say it, corporate, I guess, but it's not like you don't get the same excitement in a blowout like that. So the fact that the fans were there to experience something like that, I can't say I'm surprised by it, though. That's the thing. You just looked at that 49er team, and you looked at where they were banged up, where they have struggled against the Seahawks, and where the Seahawks' strengths are. And I really going into it, and I kind of held myself back. I didn't want to. I go back to week 1. I actually predicted a Seahawks blowout, and I got so much slack for that, and the Seahawks actually ended up losing that game. But there was something about the matchup that I just think suits well for it. So can't say I'm that surprised by it, but again, you got to play your best game if you're the Seahawks, and the 49ers had to play a pretty bad game, and that's what happened, and that all aligned for the Seahawks.
It's for the 49ers to have a chance in that game. It sort of all had to go right for them, right? With just how much of a mismatch it ended up being from the opening kickoff. I mean, there's the perfect game. I mean, it's out the window. I mean, that was sort of felt like that was the ball game right there. D-Jack, what do you think?
I expected it also, just like Bryan. I said it would be a boat race. You could just see it coming down the road. They were hurt. And hats off to the 49ers. They're a great opponent. They had a great year. With all those people lost their stars, Kittle going down the week before, I was I hate to say it because they are rivals, but I was proud of what they did. But I thought the Seahawks would dominate, and that's exactly what they did. And I find value in that, being able to do what you were supposed to do, because a lot of teams don't do that. They let a team hang around, and next thing you know, it's a ball game. No, they left no doubt from the opening kickoff, literally.
Well, and it began with that opening kickoff, but then once you got past Rashid Shaheed and they're calling it the Sheed Quake, or what are they calling it? But then it was the defense, allowing just 6 points to Kyle Shanahan's offense. Other than I heard this from Mina Kimes, other than when the Niners have played the Seahawks this season against all other opponents, all of the stats for this Niners offense, top 5 offense in the league.
Yes.
When they play the Seahawks, worst offense in the league when you look at those same metrics. Bryan, what did Mike McDonald's defense do so well against Shanahan, the pet? Everything? I mean,
everything. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's name it. They tackled. They rushed the pass. No, I mean, honestly, it was almost a perfect game for them, but something that the 49ers' strength is to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers early. I mean, that's what they do. McCaffrey he's one of the best running backs in the game, but I always say he's one of the best receivers in the game. I mean, he's top 10 in catches, and there's a reason for that. And it's because that's the extension of their run game, is getting the ball out to McCaffrey on those little angle routes, the flat routes, anything they can do to get the ball in his hands 30 times a game is what they want to do. Well, the Seahawks take that away from him. And I'm not saying they take away the touches, but they don't give him any space. It's like they're so focused on McCaffrey and in the passing game, and just when he does get the ball, it makes him pay. Like you saw times, McCaffrey did go out that game, but even the time they played the 49ers, 3 weeks ago now, like McCaffrey, every time he got up was slow. He's like, man, and he just, they made him pay every time he touched the ball. And I like that. I mean, when a guy's going to touch the ball 30, 40 times a game, like the 49ers want him to do, you got to make it hurt. You got to make him kind of have that second guess. Like, I don't know if I want the ball here. And I'm not saying he did, but that's what it looked like. And when he has to go to the sideline as much as he did, that's what the Seahawks defense was doing.
And that was my number one impression, the physicality
Yeah.
of the Seahawks. And it's been that way for most of the season. This is just a physical team that wants to bring it every time. Okay, you're going to catch the ball or run the ball, we're going to make you pay. It was no leaky yardage. Yeah. That's one thing that you see from McCaffrey. He can make you miss. He can break a tackle. It was none of that in both of these last two games, and I love to see a defense just swarm like they did.
Well, and Brian, you mentioned guys second-guessing. I feel like Brock Purdy that entire night was second-guessing with the pass rush and how quickly the Seahawks were getting to him. Brock Purdy scrambled for over 400 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Wow. I've never heard of anything like that in my entire life. I mean, absolutely incredible what this defensive front has been able to do. DeMarcus Lawrence, Leonard Williams. I mean, you can go through all the guys. You got the 3 turnovers forced. You got the 3 turnovers on downs for. I mean, that's essentially 6, quick changes of possession right there. So, let
me ask you this really quick, Ethan, because I was watching that game. Shaheed runs the opening kickoff back for a touchdown. First play of the game, they get pressure on Purdy, and Eman Wari picks up what they say was an incomplete pass. Am I crazy, or was that a fumble? And nobody mentioned that. Nobody, not the announcers. They didn't replay it not one time.
We didn't need it, DJ.
Fumble. Yes, it would have been 14-0 straight from the bat, and it left no doubt. I believe that was a fumble, and I just thought it was like really precarious that nobody said anything about it, not nary a mention. That was a fumble. They stole a touchdown from Eman Wari, if you ask me.
Brian, I don't know what you think.
The one
replay I saw, it looked like his hand. It looked like he was close, but it looked like his hand was creeping forward.
I can't exactly remember the play, but I do remember the moment of that, and I remember thinking, like so close.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It looked like it was.
Bang,
review
bang.
that.
I got to review that.
Right. I was yelling.
It might have been one of those things where maybe if they called it on the field a fumble, it would have went review and it would have been maybe tough to overturn. But I got to look at the play again. But I just remember not being shocked in the moment that they called it an incomplete pass.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, we talked about the Niners need to play a perfect game. I mean, it was really the Seahawks that play the perfect game. When the Seahawks play like this, I mean, like nobody in the entire league can beat them. You got this historic defense, and then you got a running game that's really coming to his own. Let's talk about the offense. We'll get to Zach Charbonnet in a second. I mean, absolute bummer. Suspected torn ACL. He'll be done for the season. But Kenneth Walker had, I think, the best game of his career, maybe. I mean, 116 yards on under 20 carries, 6.1 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns. First 3 touchdown performance for a Seahawks since Sean Alexander in 2003. I mean, and then just in the second half, 75 yards on 11 carries, 6.8 yards per carry in the 2 touchdowns. Brian, what did you see from Kenneth Walker? I feel like we're seeing him run with a different demeanor towards the second half of this season.
And I think a lot of it's the offensive line. I do. I think they're kind of the run game for them, the schemes, the early struggles. I think they've kind of stepped it up since then. They've kind of learned from that. They've kind of understood their assignments now and are starting to make those blocks that maybe the first half of the season they weren't when the running game was slow. And I think that's a huge part of it. And then second, what that does for Kenneth Walker is so good in space. And man, if no one is in the backfield causing penetration, making Kenneth Walker stop his feet, making him make a move 1 or 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, he's tough to bring down when he starts getting that full steam ahead. I saw some stat that Kenneth Walker averaged like 10.3 miles an hour when hitting a line of scrimmage. He was like number 2 in the league during that week, or not the last game, but the week before, I believe. So that just shows Kenneth Walker wants to hit the hole. He wants to go. He wants to use his speed. And then when he does, you saw like a couple times he got on the edge. I mean, a DB's not going to be able to bring him down when he's got hit that top speed of his. And so that's just fun. It's mostly when you talk about when that first point of contact is. When does he get when does the defense touch him for the first time? And recently it has been, 3-4 yards past the line of scrimmage, as opposed to, I think early in the season, you get it at the line of scrimmage, maybe 1 yard back. He tries to do his dance move. He wants to break a 100-yard gain every single time if he can. And that's his weakness and his strength. But when the contact's behind the line of scrimmage or in front of the line of scrimmage now, that becomes a strength because you can do that, and then he hits it big like he has been. So I think it's really just the whole run game in general, the offensive line doing their jobs, and then Kenneth Walker just playing to his strengths.
Do you think he can carry the load with the, the Zach Charbonnet injury, do you think he can be a full-time back?
If this was week 5, I would be more worried.
Right.
Because he can't – I wouldn't say he can't, but you just don't want to see him have to handle that load. Because, you look back at how many carries he's had per season. This is like one of the most split it's been between him and Charbonnet.
Yes.
And that's a good thing. It's keeping him fresh. But I think that's the advantage of a 2 running back system like the Seahawks have, is if something like this does happen, you haven't had the wear and tear of the whole rest of the season on you. So it's like, all right, I have 2 more games to touch the ball 30 times and get tackled. I can do that. Like, that's easy. That you're fresh. So the season, the 2 running back system kind of keeps your running backs a little fresher and prepared more for a situation like this. Like, you don't want to see it. Yes, you'd rather have Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker doing their thing, but can he carry the load? Absolutely, I think he can. And I think I don't want to say, I felt like he was more
emerging
in the moment. Yeah, like I feel like he was more in the zone, like not having to come out and on and off. He just knew he was in there. He was in the heat of the game. And I think a lot of athletes out there, a lot of guys, they elevate their game when they're in that moment, as opposed to kind of like, all right, am I in, you and me, like that kind of thing.
It was like a switch flip.
Yeah.
Like, I am the man now. I will get the bulk of those carries. And I think, of course, you mix in Charbonnet, but I think Ken Walker had already stamped his foot down to where, hey, look, I'm going to get the bulk of these. Ride this momentum, get on my shoulders, and I'll take us to the promised land. And I think that's what's going to happen. You hate to see the injury, but I thought Walker was, let's say, trending towards where he's going to be already.
And we saw Kenneth Walker on goal line situations in the 10-yard line and in.
Great.
You look great. We hadn't really seen that. Usually that's Charbonnet time.
Yeah.
And he's the one getting the touchdown. So, good for him. And he got 3 out of it. So perfect.
Yeah. I mean, for all the fantasy owners that were complaining all season long about Kenneth Walker not getting 3 touchdowns in the playoffs when the fantasy season is over. You mentioned the durability. Yeah, first season where Kenneth Walker this year has not missed a game throughout the entire season. And I believe his first 2 seasons, I think he played 15 and 14 games. But remember, much of those seasons, I mean, he's questionable. He's battling through injuries. So, yeah, the wear and tear aspect of it, I think they were, D-Jack, we had a lot of conversations about frustration that they weren't using Kenneth Walker more with how much we knew, how much of a game breaker he can be, right?
Yes.
But I think it's incredibly smart having a second talented back in Zach Charbonnet on the roster and utilizing them the way that they did to keep Ken Walker fresh for a moment like this. And I think it's a great point of, yes, if it was week 5, concern levels would be through the roof if Zach Charbonnet had gone down, because we've seen, like, durability wise, that's sort of a chink in Ken Walker's armor as to what he provides to a player. You can't help the club in the tub, right?
And the Seahawks are looking like geniuses right now with that split. And now is Walker's time right now. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the plan worked. Now it's time to ride the hot hand all the way to a championship, and I think he is the key. He is their number 1 game breaker. It was JSN until after that Week 11 4-interception performance by Sam Darnold, where Mike McDonald stepped in to Clint Kubiak and said, hey, let's take the air out of the ball. I think that's very obvious. We talked about it last podcast. Mike McDonald took the air out of the ball, and now he's playing to the team's strength, which is the defense. So you're going to run the ball in defense. Cliches are cliches for a reason. You hear them say it all the time. Run the ball in defense. Run the ball in defense. And I'm sitting at home with the side eye like, they all say the same thing, but it's true. It's so true. And now this team look like world beaters right now. It's nobody that can stop them if they continue to play this way.
What do you make of that, Brian? Maybe the shift in play style since that Week 11 loss. Have you noticed them taking less chances?
I've noticed teams taking away the chances, and I've noticed, but their run attempts, everything's the same. I mean, that's what I respected about it early in the season. Is even when it wasn't working, they were still doing it. Yeah. They were still running it 30 times a game, maybe for 60, 70 yards, whatever it was, but they were still doing it. And they know that you have to do that no matter what for the offense to be successful, because that's when Sam Darnold's at his best. Right. When you have that threat of the run game, when you get Sam Darnold in play action, you get him moving in out of the pocket. Like, I don't want Sam Darnold to sit in the pocket 30, 40 times a game like Geno Smith was asked to do last year. Yeah. That's not his game. He's thrown some of the best passes I've ever seen by a quarterback when he's moving outside the pocket, slinging it. The touchdown he threw to JSN just this last game.
Fantastic throw.
I mean, there's very, very few. I mean, honestly, probably 3 quarterbacks that can make that throw. Rolling to your left, flinging it across, and putting it in the perfect spot. There's not many guys that can do it. So Sam Darnold does have the arm talent. Again, the offense, the way it was running in the first half of the season was absolutely perfect. And he was taking shots. That's the one thing that's gone away. Because teams have noticed that. I mean, how many times JSN deep touchdown, JSN deep touchdown? It was clockwork, and it shouldn't be that easy.
Right.
So there's something teams have adjusted to that and made Sam Darnold play the little. I don't want to say dink and dunk, but I'll say more of a dink and dunk style, and make him have to throw the ball, 6 or 7 times on a drive for a touchdown, as opposed to the 2 or 3 on the explosive plays that they're getting.
Totally. Yeah, that run game, and it's nice with the oblique injury to Sam that it's sort of come on as of late. The last 4 games, 172 yards per game, 5.2 yards per carry, 8 rushing touchdowns. That's just over the last 4 games. Perfect timing considering the oblique injury. So let's talk about Sam Darnold. He only had to throw the ball 17 times. Brian, what did you see from him, watching him physically, mannerisms, dealing with that injury? Toradol, that'll do the job, right?
Vitamin T.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
I'm not gonna lie. Was it the first pass he threw?
Yes.
Or the first
The
deeper
JSN,
pass he threw?
yes.
Because I think he threw a check down. The very, very first pass completed. But then that first one downfield over the middle, the JSN bounced at his feet.
It was a duck.
I kind of was like, oh no, this is gonna be a long day. But then he came out and threw the dime to Cooper Kupp in the corner. He threw the dime to JSN in the end zone, and I was like, all right, he's fine. Like whatever it is, whatever adrenaline, whatever vitamin, whatever it is, it kicked in, and he's okay, and he's a Sam Darnold. I don't know how he felt the next day. I'm sure it was a little sore. He was like, whoa, what did I just do?
Yeah.
But again, I know he got hit on that one play. He got up so slow.
He landed on the
gingerly,
ball.
yeah. And I was like, oh no, like here we go. But then he threw a couple of those big passes, so he's gonna be fine. I mean, at this point in the season, I compare this injury. I feel like if this happened in camp or it happened early in the season, I feel like he doesn't miss even any practice time with it. I think he's just out there just like, all right, let's fight through this. Let's see how it goes. Let's see what this is about. But when you have it so late in the season, you've gotten your reps in. You have the timing down. You don't need to throw. It doesn't hurt you to not throw for 2 days. Like, it really doesn't. You've done it so much all throughout the season. It's just like, hey, like, get yourself right, and let's just be very, very ultra cautious with this, because it's just not worth it. We don't need you to throw another slant route at practice. We don't need you to throw another out. Like, the timing's there. You do it. You're not even thinking about it. Get yourself right.
What is the advantages of the Seahawks playing the Rams in a week like this? And you've been there before, Brian. You have veterans who need that rest. You got Sam Darnold nursing an oblique. What was that week like? Do you work hard that week and prepare for your opponent, or is it more rest? Or how do you balance that?
You're talking about the bye week?
Yeah, well, the week
or just
right
this
now,
week, right now. Oh,
yes.
Well, our teams were a little bit different back in 2013-14. We were doing a one-on-one. I mean, it was like, if we got the games were easy. That's how it was for us. Like, practices, brutal. We practiced hard. I mean, the defense and the offense, the rivalry we had, always competing against each other. So for us, it was just another week, like totally another week. I don't know what they are doing now. I'm sure there's a little bit of an element of rest. They're not wearing pads. We didn't wear pads either. Late in this season we were, but it definitely wasn't walkthroughs. So it's still keeping your speed, keep staying sharp, and being competitive. But if you have, here's where I say it's different. If you do have a little nick like Sam Darnold, you do have something, then again, it's not worth it. Marshawn Lynch probably was not practicing at this time,
right?
During our big runs. Like, there's no way he would be practicing. Maybe Fridays kind of speed through that we'd have, kind of getting the timing down. But Wednesday, Thursday, Marshawn wasn't practicing. He didn't need it. Let him rest. Let him recover from all the bumps and the bruises and that kind of stuff that he had.
Well, case in point, Charles Cross went out with that game with the foot injury, right? And Mike McDonald saying on Monday he doesn't necessarily need to practice for Mike to be comfortable with him playing on Sunday. So what parallels do you see between this team and the team that beat the Broncos? Do you see a lot of similarities?
I see a lot of similarities as far as what the team wants to be. Like you just said it. They want to play defense and run the ball. That's what they want to be. it's so different the way they would do that. Though our team was, hey, we're gonna run cover 3. Here you go. Like, beat us. See if you can beat us. And teams couldn't. This team, I feel like, is so schematical. And Coach McDonald is such a genius, and he's always getting his guys in the right spot. And so to that point, it's almost more difficult because guys got to be on the same page. Guys got to be communicating. That's a big word that this team talks about is communication. And with this defense, the communication's off. You're going to have a game like what happened 5 weeks ago against the Rams when just things weren't really clicking at all. You know, when you give up 585 total yards instead of Seahawks defensive record. Hey, I still can't believe we're talking that's the same defense that we're talking about. Right. But that can happen if things are just a little bit off like that. So, you know, in that way, it's completely different. But as far as the way they want to play, it's the same. But this team, the love for one another, you know, getting all that stuff, you know, all these phrases, you know, MOB and dark side. It was we had that too. You know, we had LOB, we had leave no doubt 24/7. You know, what's next? All this stuff. So that's a common thing. I think that, you know, when you're a good team, people really gather around those catchphrases or slogans.
It's funny that you talk about communication because over the last few years before Mike McDonald, that was one of my main pet peeves with a Pete Carroll defense is they always had those breakdowns. And then when they talk about it after the game, it's like it was a communication problem. So with that being said, and you also talk about the genius in Mike McDonald, but there's another genius on the other side, and he's gotten the best of the Seahawks, if you ask me, and that's Sean McVay. How does Mike McDonald match up with Sean McVay? Because I think he's gotten the best of Shanahan. Check that off the list. Now McVay is there, and I think our own Aaron Levine, refs him as the final boss. Mm-hmm. This is the final boss, Sean McVay. How does that matchup work?
No, it's a fun one, and I'm sure it's one Coach McDonald thinks about all season long. You know, how do we master the Rams? And you go back to the first matchup against them. I mean, you held Stafford 130 yards, so you had it. You had a little bit of that formula. The difference was explosive plays. That's it. It's look, they're gonna get their 20-yard catches or 15-yard catches, but you gotta tackle them. Don't let Puka catch a 15-yard pass and let him run for another 60. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's getting guys in the right spot. And look, McVay, last time they played the Rams, he got his guys in ideal matchups. You know, there's one of the touchdowns I believe to Puka Nacua was Puka Nacua in the slot and Kobe Bryant one-on-one, like 13 yards off of him. Mm-hmm. Now, I could go out there. I should be careful of me saying this. Hamstring Scott. Say it, Brian. I already hurt my hamstring saying that. But, like, going out there and against a soft coverage like that, you can run any route you want. I mean, it's just like you're licking your lips. Like, you can't wait. It's putting your guy in an impossible situation. You can't expect Kobe Bryant to cover that because you're just going, oh, gosh, and he did. He ran a little in route, dig route, boom, and took it to the house. And that's what you'd expect in situations like that. But then, to get long-winded on this, there's the other part of that where same situation, Puka Nacua is in the slot, but this time, I don't remember who was lined up on him, but this time the opposite safety was Ty Okada in this case. He actually had help, and Puka ran this dig route, and Ty Okada, you can see, is kind of like eyeing it. Like, okay, here we are. I'm here for this. But there was another route that I thought the ball was overthrown. Uh-huh. And he kind of started playing the overthrow ball. Puka Nacua ran a perfect route and right underneath it and was gone again. Yeah. And so, you know, you can blame Coach McDonald for that, but you can't. Like, he has his guy in the right spot for these plays. And so it's really the best of both worlds. Sometimes McVay gets you, like he does. He's going to schematically get you, and you know, you just hope to kind of minimize the damage. And other times, you know, you got to trust your guys to execute what you call.
Well, and what about Matthew Stafford, the Matthew Stafford part of it? Because, I mean, he's throwing no-look passes, sort of has Ernest Jones, you know, just in his head. Like, how do you deal with a quarterback throwing no-look passes in the most high-pressure situations?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that's just, we've seen that. I mean, that's crazy.
And, you know, I will say, I'll back up on that a little bit. He's not doing it every play,
right?
You know, a couple times, you know, maybe once or twice a game you'll see it, and it's like, wow, that was cool. But that's really, to me, that's just some big time trust as a quarterback in your receivers. Like, all right, hey, he's going to be there. There it is. So it's pretty impressive. I mean, I really have no comment on that because it's just really, really impressive that he does that.
How do you get to Stafford? Do you blitz him? Do you play coverage? Do you sit back? I mean, how do you get to him?
That's what Stafford. All right. For example, C.J. Stroud. What did he struggle with? He threw picks, but it was because he just the play's not there. He's trying to force things. He's trying to extend it. He's trying to run. He's trying to throw it and force it into places where he shouldn't. Right? Just Stafford's so good at reading it initially. Boom. All right, they got us. Throw it at the feet. Boom. Throw it away. So that being said, it's really tough to get to him because the ball's out so fast. The ball is just, and he's not taking a risk. He's not holding that thing for 5-6 seconds. If he holds it for 5 seconds, 6 seconds in that pocket, I would bet a lot of money that the Seahawks defensive line is going to get to him. But that's not what Stafford wants to do. He's in, boom, goes through his read, check down immediately. Stuff like that is what makes Stafford so tough to get to. So I don't think that's the game the Seahawks want to play. I think that's a big storyline is how do you get to Stafford? No one really gets to Stafford. There's a few sacks here and there, and maybe you can disguise some things, but really what it comes down to is the way you're going to get to Stafford is right away initially winning your one-on-one matchup. Totally. Boom, I'm done. Give him no chance. But if you kind of let the play develop for 2-3 seconds and then kind of get a little late win, you're not going to get to him.
Well, another person who thinks that this is a key matchup, the ability to get to Matthew Stafford, is Michael Sean Dugar of The Athletic. He was on Washington Sports Wrap yesterday with our Aaron Levine. Here's what he had to say.
You got to get to Matthew Stafford. The Seahawks have played Matthew Stafford twice this season. In those 2 games, he has dropped back 79 times. In those 2 games, they have only hit him 7 times. 0 sacks, 0 turnovers. That's just unsustainable. You just can't live in that world with a guy who is this good. He's not fazed by playing on the road. He's not fazed by tight windows and tight coverage. He's not fazed by 2-minute drills, game-winning situations. He's led game-winning drives on the road in back-to-back games to get to this point. He threw a no-look pass on a game-winning drive in the Super Bowl, right? Like, this guy is unflappable. Well, how do you get to him? You put him on the ground. Like, that's how you get guys to make mistakes, and they haven't done that. They actually didn't do that last year either. The Seahawks haven't sacked Matthew Stafford since 2023.
Now the no sacks since 2023 is crazy.
Yes.
But 7 hits. I mean, 7 hits. Brian, he's getting rid of the ball. He's good at not taking negative yardage, but just only hitting him 7 times. I mean, that's a step past that to where we're not even affecting him.
Yes.
So I mean, and part of that I feel like goes back to Sean McVay and knowing that he's got a veteran quarterback who's not very mobile, and sort of scheming stuff up to where he's keeping him upright and protected and comfortable. But that's where Mike McDonald steps in. He's like, we got to get him off his spot. I feel like in that comeback win on Thursday Night Football, the Seahawks defense sort of turned a corner and forced a couple of those 3-and-outs because they were getting Matthew Stafford off his spot and sort of making him feel the pressure. So I mean, are they able to do that? Do you think he can actually execute and get that done in this matchup?
You would hope. You would definitely want to hope.
Cross your fingers.
But the other thing is, it's like the Seahawks' defensive success hasn't been because they blitz. Mm-hmm. They've been so successful because they've been able to get pressure without blitzing. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that this defense prides itself on. And with Matthew Stafford, I don't think that they've been very successful when blitzing him. The blitzes are picked up. It just leaves you a little bit more vulnerable on the back end. And so I don't see a lot of blitzing by the Seahawks. I think they'd say, hey, you know what, we're going to rush our four guys, get to them, but let's do kind of what we did with the 49ers. We can't give away the explosive. Explosive happen when you can beat the blitz. That there's less guys back there, less swarming. It's just break one tackle, you're gone. So I don't see the Seahawks blitzing a lot. And to my memory, and I need to go back and review it, I think that 585-yard game that they gave up, I feel like they brought the blitz a little bit more than what we're used to seeing. And that's kind of what you see now. It's awesome when the blitz is hit. It really is. But when you have a veteran quarterback that can sniff these things out, make the right call at the line of scrimmage, slide your line to the way you need to, and he just recognizes things. Look, I played with Phillip Rivers. There was nothing like that. The things he saw at the line of scrimmage, it was unbelievable. Hey, this guy's coming. This guy's blitzing. Hey, watch it. Hey, we're slide it this way. Go. And you're like, what? How does that all go through your head? And that's kind of what Stafford is like to me. It's just he's seen it all. You can't fool him. You're not going to fool him. So you're going to beat him by just playing straight up. Like, here's what we got. Like, I hope your guys are better than ours in the matchups.
How much confidence? You mentioned Phillip Rivers. You as a player playing with him, how much confidence does that give you beside him being on the same team as that guy?
I mean, yeah. I mean, all kinds of confidence. I mean, I remember things like the freedom he has too. I think that's the big thing. Like, McVay gives Stafford all kinds of freedom out there because he trusts him as one of the best quarterbacks in the game, MVP, right? Pretty much. But Phillip, I was in the slot, and I'm a young rookie, and I'm like, okay, like I got to run my route. This is what's called. Here we go. And Phillip's going, hey, Bryan, running out. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, well, should I? On film, it's going to be wrong. It's going to be an error. Like, it's not the route I'm supposed to, but you got to do what your quarterback says. Like, to have that kind of freedom, just to, like, there's nothing in anything we've talked about that says, run this route. But Phillip says, run it out, go. All right, I'm going to run that out. And that's the control he has. And guess what? I caught it. I caught the ball, got a few yards, and boom. And
it worked.
It worked. He saw something. You got to trust him. So, yes, I think that's the big thing. And Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, trust Stafford. Those guys do. And so, yeah, that's a huge thing as a wide receiver.
Now, you mentioned the Seahawks doing what they do, but some people are talking about some changes as far as traveling with Nacua. Do you see that happening? Witherspoon maybe traveling with Nacua? I think he does need some special attention. I don't think you can continue to do what you've been doing in the last 2 seasons. So do you see them changing it up a little bit and maybe traveling with Nacua?
This was a good topic. The last 2 times ago when the 49ers came in, right? I remember Robert Saleh was asked, are you going to travel with JSN?
Right.
And he went into depth of why not, like why that's so brutal on a defense. And I think it's the same.
It changes
thing.
everybody else.
It changes everyone else, and it really kind of leaves you a little bit more susceptible to other guys hurting you. I mean, Devontae Adams is pretty good.
Hall of Famer.
He's Hall of Famer. Yeah. And if you want to risk that, great. Where I do think it comes into, I think, certain downs and distances. I think, these guys know everything, right? The coaches know tendencies and all that stuff. So, if it's like, hey, 3rd down and 3 to 6, Nacua gets the ball, whatever, this amount of time, he's going to run these routes. This is the routes he runs, and I'm totally just making this up, with what they're probably seeing. We want to travel with them on this situation. We want to travel with them. 1st down, maybe we won't travel with them. 2nd down, maybe not. But like this 3rd down and 3 to 6 yards to go, be ready. We're going to travel because that has hurt us, and we know how to stop this now. So it might be situational where you start seeing a guy like Witherspoon going with Nacua.
Well, I don't put anything past Mike McDonald and his ability to make adjustments. He says that he's an overthinker, so maybe that's something that we see on Sunday. Let's go other side of the ball. We sort of talked about Darnold, but let's talk about Darnold specifically against the Rams. 6 interceptions in the 2 matchups. We talked about sort of the offense sort of taking the air out of the ball, relying on that run game. He's dealing with the oblique injury. Are you guys worried about the turnover problems against Chris Shula in this Rams defense?
I'm not. I think Sam is over that, and I think the game plan has proven that. If you look at it, and the last since week 11, he's had 6 turnovers, I believe, or 4 interceptions and 2 lost fumbles. So he's actually been valuing the ball. I think Sam has taken that next step. He got over that hump, and I expect him to play well as long as he throws, 15 to 20 times a game. Don't ask him to go to 25, 30 throws a game. That's not the kind of quarterback he is. He showed that at the beginning of the season he can do that, but once those defenses start catching up and studying him, that went by the wayside. So I think Sam is like a 20 to 25 pass attempt quarterback. A game manager, and that's not an insult because that's what this Seahawks team needs. The best side of this ball is the defense. There's no doubt about that, and you need the quarterback to play complementary football like they say. Like I said, a cliche is a cliche for a reason. You hear the coaches say it all the time, and that's what Darnold needs to do. And I feel confident. I think he can win this game.
Yeah, don't pull a Texans. They're one of the best defenses in the league as well, and and your quarterback does that to you, you're just not going to win a lot. But here's the thing. You go back to some of these interceptions against the Rams. McVay, Shula, they fooled Darnold. Straight up fooled him. That's it. Like, they got him. And, you got to tip your hat to them sometime. You can't always just put it on the quarterback because Darnold's making the reads he should make. And I'll go back to specifically one of the interceptions I think it was the very first one he threw. That was to Cooper Kupp, kind of a little 15, 20-yard kind of inside comeback route, right? Mm-hmm. And the safety from the opposite side of the field comes sprinting over to get that. His read is one-on-one Cooper Kupp, win that route. Okay, I get a little pressure, I'm going to throw that. Cooper is going to win. But the safety came from out of nowhere. And when you actually look at that, there's zero reason the safety should have done that because JSN's on that side. JSN's one-on-one deep.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. So they're seeing something. So when I say they're seeing something, I'm seeing something. I'm seeing Darnold's eyes. Right away, his eyes went left. They all went left. So I feel like that might be something Darnold can use to his advantage this game. Hey, you know what? Let's fool him a little bit. I'm looking left. Boom, here we go. I'm going right. Maybe not so lock in on one side of the field like he has been. Because when you watch a lot of that game and you actually just say, I'm going to pay attention to his eyes. I'm going to pay attention to where he's looking. It's pretty spot on that the way he's looking is the way he wants to go. And I feel like they were kind of getting on that a little bit. And again, the last two interceptions, the second game against the Rams, I mean, everything in the world indicated that the Rams were running man-to-man. Everything. And you have a double slant. Everything looks like man. I mean, the corner even followed the wide receiver over in motion. Man-to-man all day. This is an easy read. Boom. He takes 2 steps with the wide receiver like he's in man. Darnold's, okay, I'm going to go to my outside. And he just stops, breaks off, and picks it. It was a zone. It was zone. Yeah. You're like, wow, well done. That's just the – you remember
the chess match.
You remember playing the video game Techno Super Bowl?
Yes.
I never played that actually.
Yes.
You never played it. Okay,
no.
But you remember in that game when you picked the same play as the offense, it was just and there was no chance. That's kind of what it was like. It's just like, we got you. We knew what you're
the exact counter. Yeah.
And so I don't put a lot you don't want him to throw the pass. You want him to be able to see it, right? But you also don't expect him to be a Superman, right? Superman out there. Right. He's doing his reads. And can the Rams keep fooling him like that? I don't think so. I think that's kind of all been displayed and all, they've shown their cards. So, and I think Sam will be a little bit more aware of it. But again, throwing the ball, I don't want to take that from Sam Darnold. That's what he's good at. He's good at slinging it down the field, the explosive plays. That's what you want from him. And the second he starts to be hesitant about doing that and throwing picks, then he's not the same quarterback.
Yeah, and I wanted to jump in and talk about that because these teams, they're master manipulators, The narrative is we want Sam to continue to sling it and not be scared, for lack of a better term. I don't have a problem with Sam slinging it or his interceptions. What I do have a problem is the batted balls and the fumbles. That's the things that make me cringe. Those are the things that give me concern about the ball security of Sam Darnold. He's putting the ball on the ground too much as far as fumbles, and he's getting a lot of balls batted down at the line of scrimmage where it puts it up in the air for anybody to get. I think Sam needs an oblique injury. I know he has that, but they have pads and medicine for that. He needs to use his legs a little bit more in this game, I believe. Tuck the ball and run, especially at the beginning of the game, to put that pass rush on notice and make them nervous as far as, rushing the passer, because Verse, he's a dog. Yeah. I would worry about him. He's one of those extra meeting guys. I'm sure, Brian, you had those extra meetings. Hey, Verse, he's a dog. So you got to worry about him. So I think Sam Darnold needs to use his legs a little bit more in this matchup.
I will 100% agree with you on use the legs and the fumbles. I think his ball security in the pocket and getting outside the pocket, it's on the ground too much. The batted balls, I don't think I will. And the reason, look, let's go to the play where everyone, was it last week? Yeah, when he didn't hit Charbonnet in the flat.
Yeah, the first 49ers matchup.
Yeah, the first, was it the first 49er
I think it was the first
49er?
the goal line. The goal line, yeah.
Now, you want the quarterback to pull the trigger all day. Now, but there's a defender kind of in the way. Mm-hmm. Is he scared that he's going to bat the ball down? Probably, right? But you don't want that in a quarterback. Quarterbacks shouldn't worry about the ball. That's not their job. They're throwing to the windows. They're throwing to their wide receivers. the offensive line's kind of the job, and they'll always say it, to keep their hands down. And so quarterbacks just want to throw the spot. You don't want him to do what he did against the 49ers when he didn't pull the trigger because there's someone in the way. He's got to let that thing fly. Now, if he did let it fly, who knows? Maybe a guy gets a hand up, now it's pick six or something. You don't know. But that's not necessarily where you don't want a quarterback not to throw a ball because you think it's going to get batted down from a defensive lineman right in front of you.
Well, you mentioned second guessing, and I feel like, with the schematic wins that the Rams have had to force these Sam Darnold interceptions, before the season, we're talking about what Sam Darnold are we going to get? Are we going to get the guy that's seeing ghosts, or are we going to see the guy that we saw in Minnesota, last year? With the schematic wins, and you're talking about a safety running from the opposite side of the field all the way down when he's got this read where he's certain that he's got one-on-one coverage, Cooper Kupp, and he sees a safety down and it turns into an interception. I feel like it would be so easy for a quarterback who has had his confidence problems when he was in New York, literally says he's seeing ghosts, to then revert back there, and when he's certain of the next read, be like, oh, but what if that safety's coming down again, and then not trust his read. But from what you've seen with Sam is, and even after he threw that second interception and that comeback win to the Rams when everybody thought they were dead, he comes back, he leads them down, he's still slinging it, he's still the same Sam Darnold that we've seen all season long. So what gives me confidence in this matchup is the resilience that he has shown this entire season. We talk about the throw he made in overtime to Cooper Kupp on that corner route between two guys in that Rams game. One of the more impressive throws I've ever seen. And that was after throwing his sixth interception against the Rams in 2 games. So for me, I feel really good about Sam and his ability to just compartmentalize mistakes and not compound them and not make them worse than it already is and just sort of flush it. We've seen throughout this year, coming into this Ram matchup, the first one and the second one, all of the narratives, can you win the big game? The Rams sort of have your number, and he's just like the same guy. Like he comes up to the podiums joking with Brady Henderson and just sort of, just kicking it and same process, same everything. Like he's got the same demeanor every single time. I think that's the thing that's impressed me the most about Sam Darnold this year is no matter what they ask him to do, he's always been willing to do it. And if he doesn't execute, it doesn't matter. He's going to go and try to do it again. It's not going to impact his confidence at all.
Yes. I mean, and he doesn't worry about what the outside world says about him.
Yeah.
You got quarterbacks like a Justin Herbert, who people think is like Jesus in cleats, who never won a playoff game. And here goes Sam Darnold in the NFC playoff, in the NFC Championship game, and people saying he has to win 2 Super Bowls before we consider him a real quarterback. They still will not give this man credit, and all he's done is won a franchise record 14 games in the season, and the Seahawks has a rich history of winning. We're not no scrubs. I said it last week. They say, the Rams and the 49ers are the big bad wolf of the NFC West. No, it's the Seahawks with 9 division titles. We've owned this division since reorganization, and people need to understand that. The Seahawks are that team.
And to add to that, people say Sam can't win a playoff game, can't win he's owned one, like one sample size.
Yep.
Right? Like, okay. So I'm just I looked it up. I was okay. There's got to be other quarterbacks who have lost their first playoff game, right? In history, right? Well, guess what? One you're playing this week, Matthew Stafford. He actually lost his first 3 playoff games.
Yep.
First 3. Did he get a bad rep about, he can't win the big game, can't do this, can't do that? Probably not. Matt Ryan, another big-time quarterback. This is actually kind of hurt me a little bit. His first playoff win was against us in 2012.
Yeah.
When he had that.
But that was the start.
That was a start of us.
We needed that.
You never need a loss. You never need a loss. You never want a loss. Come on.
Hey,
I would have liked to go to 3 Super Bowls in a row.
That put the battery in our back. Come on now.
Fair. But even like Drew Brees, he lost his first playoff game. Peyton Manning lost his first 3 appearances. Aaron Rodgers lost his first. So, come on. He lost 1 playoff game. And honestly, when you go back and look at that game, the offensive line was awful for the Vikings. 9 sacks, and some of them on Darnold, yes, but not all of them. So there's a narrative that once you get it, it's hard to shake it. So I just hope that Sam can go out there and fire away for 5 touchdowns.
Oh man, That would be
just shut them up, right?
The frustrating part is, I mean, they're just going to keep moving the goalposts. Like with this whole narrative, but Sam had this awesome running game and the defense, and it wasn't really him that did it. So
he was a passenger, not the driver.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, what are you going to do? Yeah. So we are running up on time. So we'll.
But before I have to ask Bryan the environment. The Wells, you were there in 2013. I say 2013, you could feel it in the air. Like even, outside, we was doing Blue Fridays and all that. But the environment, is it anywhere close to 2013? And how did it make you feel? Because it kind of, not that you were irrelevant, but it kind of brings that 2013 squad back up. Now they can wear their jackets, they on the sideline, take pride in this team. How does that make you feel? Like, them bringing you back, kind of?
Well, two things of that. One, like being down there in that overtime win against the Rams, being on the field, we're getting ready to start the show after that was the energy. That was it. And I'm just sitting there going, man, like little chills. It gives you the chills. It brings back all the memories that you had and those big moments and the big memories that we made in that stadium. Right. And then the other thing that's so fun about it too is, being up, watching these games, all these former teammates are up there, So last game we had, Doug was up there, Jermaine's up there, Sydney's up there. Who am I missing? Sherm was up there. Cam was up there. But I run into them all, and you're just like, hey, like this team's real, huh? For real. Yeah. This is it. And they know too. Like everyone just kind of knows something's different about this team. Something's different about kind of the whole situation that the city is in right now, and it just feels eerily similar to back in 2013.
Do they take offense to that, though,
no.
being compared to LOB, this MOB defense? And do they take offense to that? Because I know that was a prideful group. Trust me.
One thing I fought back at, not fought back, but it should say is, I think the comparisons to that group happened way too soon. They happened before they'd even won a playoff game.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, let's give the LOB a little bit more credit because you did go to 2 Super Bowls, 1 mini playoff game. So, like, there's still work to do for this defense that I think that to deserve, like, the complete comparison. But is the talent there? Is the potential there like that? Have they been, outstanding? Absolutely. And can they get there? I totally believe they can. Yeah. But they still just have a little work to do.
They got some work to do.
Put some respect on the LOB name.
Bryan, Earl Thomas called the environment at Lumen Field when it's rocking calming yesterday with one of our reporters. Wow. That's not exactly the word that would come to my mind if I do imagine being in that situation. Is it you're crazy, Earl, or do you sort of see a little bit in that?
I totally get where he's coming from because back then, those are our best memories. Like, right, you think of one of your best memories growing up, right? Yeah. That's calming.
Yeah.
And those situations and the moments when the crowd's roaring, well, those are some of our best moments on the field. The best things that have happened, the Richard Sherman tip, the Jermaine Kearse touchdown, and to send us to the Super Bowl. Like, those are memories that you go, wow, like that's calming. Like, those are where you go. That's like your happy place. So I understand where he's coming from with that, and just kind of having the whole crowd behind you that way.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure a lot of calm folks will be at Lumen Field on Sunday, most likely, feeling calm, feeling cool, so calm and collected. Yeah. As we wrap up the Seahawks portion, 2 stats to leave you on. Since Mike Macdonald was hired, the Seahawks are 7-0 when playing a team they've already played that season. Hopefully that continues this weekend. Also, Matthew Stafford led the NFL in passing yards. The Seahawks allowed the fewest points in the NFL. The last time the NFL's leading passer and the number 1 scoring defense met in the playoffs, you probably already know, it was Super Bowl 48 when the Seahawks defeated Peyton Manning and the Broncos by a decent margin. So we have seen this matchup sort of play out before. You mentioned sort of eerily similar between. It just sort of has that same aura, it feels like. So
Hold on 1 second, Ethan. Give me a Star Watch really quick. Give me 1 star. It's 1 star each of the game. Really quick. Offense or defense?
Give me K9.
K9.
I think K9 has another moment.
Who you got, Bryan? Who you got?
Player to watch.
I'm going to have to go to the defense after the last game against the Rams. Got to be someone on the defense really elevating, and I like what you said with Devin Witherspoon.
All right. I think it's Derek Hall.
I like it.
I think Derek Hall has the game in his life, so that's what I'm going with.
All right. Let's move on. Let's go to the other matchup on the AFC. We're doing our pick standings, updating. Yeah, Brian, Dante doesn't like his picture.
I like it.
It was the one that Dante sent, and then he's complaining about it.
I didn't know it would be sized like that. Like, you know.
So Austin's leading with 43 wins. I am behind with 42 wins. Will Ortner of Chat Sports also behind at 42 wins. Brian, I had like a 7-game lead in these picks. We do 3 picks every week. I've just completely blown the lead. Anyway, our picks for this week, obviously we're all on the Seahawks. And then for the Patriots-Broncos game, we're all on the Patriots except for Dante. I'm assuming you're just trying to make up some ground, or do you actually think the Broncos can win this game?
Hey, Steady got him, man.
Jared
Stidham, you know, I believe in Steady, baby. You know, no, the Broncos defense, you're playing at altitude. Yeah. Everybody's saying Jared Stidham can't do it. I just think this Bronco team has something special. Now, I don't like their coach, Sean Payton, but I think he's one of the best coaches in the NFL. I think this will be a close game. They baffle Drake May, who's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. I think the Broncos pull out a close win.
How do you see this one playing out, Brian? You got a gut feel?
It's that. I mean, all of me wants to go Patriots because of Bo Nix, but then I go, well, why was this team good all year? It wasn't because of Bo Nix.
Yeah,
you know, it was because of their defense. So I think the Broncos have a real shot. I still think the Patriots will pull it out. I think Drake May. And their defense is good. I mean, that's the difference right there. Is the Patriots' defense is also really good, one of the best in the league. So I am going to go a Super Bowl 49 rematch.
Yeah,
Seahawks. Patriots.
We get our lick back.
We get our lick back.
I hope
like it. We got a Super Bowl pick from Bryan Walters live on the podcast. You gotta love that. I'm sort of with you, Brian. Patriots both sides of the ball. I feel like they're just the more complete team than the Broncos without Bo Nix. All right, really quick to wrap up the episode, I want to give a shout out to Felix Hernandez. The Hall of Fame voting coming out yesterday. His year 2 on the ballot, he jumped 25.5% to 46.1% of the vote. That is the largest jump since at least 1967 for a player year to year. Felix has got to make the Hall of Fame.
But this is much to do about nothing because even 46 doesn't get him in, right? He's still
I mean, he's not a first ballot guy, so you got to gain momentum.
We have 10 years?
Yeah, I think they changed it to 15. Maybe.
15 years, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, this is. At the very least, it is very, very promising.
He's trending upwards.
He's trending in the right direction because you got the guys, the first ballot guys that people have to vote for and everything. And so I feel like some of the Hall of Fame voters feel like you got to be, you know, if you're not a first ballot guy, you got to be on the ballot for this amount of years until you can earn my vote. You know, like sort of that stuff.
They'll wait
sort of
the
gatekeeping.
It's just like baseball, the unwritten rule. I can't stand him. You know, just say it. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but shout out Felix. It'd be pretty cool to see him in the Hall of Fame. All right, that's going to do it for this episode.
And congratulations to Indiana for winning the National Football Championship.
Shout out, Fernando Mendoza. Yeah, pretty awesome. Brian, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. For Bryan Walters, D-Jack, Dante Jackson, I'm Ethan McReynolds. See you next time on The Sidelines.
Let's go!
On the Sidelines is available wherever you get your podcast.